I'm Atze Kerkhof. I'm director at Team Redline, also director at Redline Control. Mostly active in sim racing, and basically I'm visiting the office, my friends of Heusinkveld, to catch up and do some talking and go through the pedals that we just released together, and really looking forward to this day.
I think it came down to Heusinkveld just started, and I was working from upstairs assembling the pedals myself, and the boxes were stacking up in the bedroom, and Atze was doing some work, I think with Van Amersfoort Racing for their simulator.
Yeah.
And he visited me at home. I think he saw the boxes of pedals there, and well, we got to talking, and we kind of needed office space. And
I was right in between my current career and the speed skating career, so I had to find something. I was doing a lot of work with Van Amersfoort Racing, training a lot of drivers, doing a little bit of coaching on track already, and this was the perfect solution in the beginning stages of both our careers, and it was quite interesting. It was a very fun time, actually. Yeah.
Yes, I also remember your rig that you had at the time, and the pedals, it was all very flexing and not ideal. I remember if you gave a brake input that the brake trace wobbled because everything was bouncing and flexing. So the thing that you see is that the hardware and the software, they go together. And you did advanced driver training, but with the incorrect hardware, that doesn't work. You need everything together, and that's why I think the hardware that we supply and the physics that I made and your driver training, that together is more than the sum of its parts, basically. That's what helps.
Yeah, that's the funny part, because when I was in speed skating, I always had people around me that told me how to do things, and they were very analytical about things, and I was always like, oh, just go with the flow and do your training and you become the best. But you were this analytic guy in terms of speed skating, and it perfectly fit in my career, because you thought about complete other things that were super important, and you made me think about this stuff from the beginning, and probably if you weren't there, I wouldn't have chosen a complete different career path. So it's,
Oh, right. I didn't know about that. That's kind of nice. Nice to hear that. Yeah, I remember once, 2014, I tried to come into the office on a Sunday to do some actual work without being interrupted in Hungary. You were driving, I think, a Formula 1 car at Spa. Yeah. And I think it was with Max already training for the next race. So there was my quiet evening in the office, and he was there as well. So we spent silly hours on that. That was a fun moment.
With his legendary move, the race after. That was
outside Blanchimont, was it?
Yeah. I think we did hundreds of laps around Monza and Spa just to practice overtaking. At some point, we had our sponsors in Team Redline for the hardware, and at some point we wanted to move forward with this. So instead of using a whole brand, it was quite ridiculous that we didn't work with Heusinkveld before, because we always worked together, but we always had a lasting deal, so we couldn't really get out of that, or change that. But at some point, we changed Team Redline. We went to Team Redline 2.0, we always say, which meant everything had to be more professional. So, because that's what we stand for. We stand for quality results, and we believe that with these pedals we can get the results. We have everything in our own hands. There shouldn't be a luck factor or something breaking. Everything should be rock solid and minimize the risk, basically. So when we started the partnership, we started discussing, like, okay, how can we expand it? How can we make things cooler? And how can we combine our brands? And the most easy thing, of course, was getting these pedals together.
He says easy, but we'll get to that later, but all right.
Well, the easiest idea, basically, that was the first one that popped up, like, let's try to make a co-branded product. And that's how this idea came alive.
So we figured, let's make a special version of the sprint pedals that are the same functionally, but just with an updated look.
If it's in real racing or sim racing, it all starts with the feeling on the brakes, because that defines your braking zone, but it also defines your entry speed, and the entry speed defines your mid corner and exit as well. So the pedals are everything. Without a good set of pedals, there's no way you can reach the top.
How different do you set them up? Like, is there a big difference from one driver to the other? One might go for far softer or lower kilograms, or one rubber or four rubbers. How different is that subjectively to them? What do they prefer? all the same, or?
No, it's completely different.
Right.
It depends on the car as well. If you drive a Formula car, then you want to push quite hard. But if you want to drive a GT or Cup car, you need to have it quite soft to get more feeling into it. Together with the smart software, you can just set it up within 2-3 minutes, basically, to get your own specific settings on it.
We learned with Atze and with other customers that a real car, a real brake pedal has a lot of variety depending on the car, depending on the components used in the brakes. And then you add in a simulator, it's not real, there are no G-force, it always feels a bit different. So you already have a wide range of options, and then you add the subjective driver preference. So that's what we try to do in all our products. Is adjustability is the main thing, because you may think this is the ideal setting. Ask 100 drivers, you will get 100 answers what the ideal setting is. So the bigger the window is, you can give them to tune, and we can have a pedal move this much or that much on the brakes. That just means that they can find their optimum setting and be happier and quicker and more consistent. Having like almost endless information coming from some of the best sim racers in the world can only help us improve future products as well. It's definitely very valuable, and I think that's one of the reasons, I would hope to think that is one of the reasons that, since we are not strictly sticking to our engineering limited field of view, we are looking at feedback that will also ensure that we will remain towards the top end of sim racing hardware manufacturers, because we don't just look at our own little part, we try to include real races and sim races, and Redline being at the top there is just, it can only add value.
We are in a very happy place with Team Redline, and we are still growing. This is our first cooperation with a manufacturer, and we are super proud of it, and this is the way we want to go with Team Redline. We want to keep doing this stuff, making sim racing better, more accessible for everyone, because the sport is getting bigger and bigger, and the drivers involved are quite big as well nowadays. So the difference between real racing and sim racing, it gets less and less, because they keep crossing each other basically. The real drivers go to the sim and they become really quick in the sim. So hardware becomes more and more important, and therefore we attach such much value to our cooperation with Heusinkveld. And I am at least looking forward to extend it for a couple of years, yes.